What's going on?
What's good, bro? How you living, man?
Pretty good, man. A little tired. I'm working, but it's all good.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Good morning. Well, actually, good afternoon to everyone that's hopping on right now, man. We appreciate everyone joining us. Uh, yeah, man. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We'll give people a few minutes to hop in.
Okay.
Yeah, give me 1 second, real quick. Actually, now, yeah, we straight. Yeah, man.
Okay.
How's everything going this morning, man?
It's going good, man. Had a couple of conversations that for me, it's always about being able to wake up and having, being blessed with opportunity, being blessed with more opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited. Today is a good day.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we could go ahead and dive in. I mean, I know everyone is joining. We're gonna, go live from 12 to 1.
Okay.
So for everyone who's joining right now, study breaks is just a time, for us to be able to have conversations with, relationship people who we've developed relationships with, within the fashion industry. So that's gonna go from everything from, actual brands, store owners, curators, creative directors, photographers, anything that kind of exists within this space of fashion and creating culture. We're trying to have those conversations. And so, last week we had our guy Frank on. I know you popped in it for a little bit, AJ. That's actually how we were able to get connected.
Right.
So yeah, just first want to say, man, we appreciate you hopping on. Just kind of give everyone just some framework for today. We're gonna just kind of start off with a conversation between me and AJ, and then from there, throughout the time, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and drop them in the comment section, and we'll be sure to kind of get to everyone, or as many people as we can. Throughout this hour time block. All right.
All right.
So yeah, man. Before we before we dive into some of the stuff that we've been talking about over the last few days, man, definitely, tell the people, who you are, man. Like you're a pretty prolific cat, man. You've been doing a lot of great work out here.
I appreciate it, man. I'm Alexander John. I design clothing, footwear, spaces. I do paintings, murals. Basically a modern day Renaissance man. Like I believed in that era where people were using their gifts to perfect their craft in different areas. And so just me being somebody that grew up having a background in art, I ended up seeing where that fit throughout different categories and was able to obtain mastery of certain levels for, designing clothing, footwear, but without any schooling. So I'm a self-taught artist, believer, God is the source of everything.
Word, amen. That's what's up.
Basically it.
Word. So, I see you got the Rock Nation hat on, and there's mad people that always be walking around with the paper plane. But like, what's your association with Rock Nation? And then also, like, just kind of talk about some of the projects that you worked on, because I mean, I think you're one of those guys that people have probably seen your work, but they're not necessarily familiar with who you are as a personality.
Yeah. I would say my association with Rock Nation would be through Emery Jones, who's like a big brother to me, man. He's somebody I met back in 2011, and he believed in the work, and so he gave myself and some other guys opportunities, man, just to shine. Like, and it was before the paper plane, actually. So it was like when I saw that he had the paper plane brand, it was my way of showing support as well, because he supported me. And so moving forward, I've just been able to do some amazing things, man. I've done projects with New Balance. Last year, I did a project with Puma. I've done multiple projects with Puma. I did Walking Dead. I actually did. We did SummerSlam last year. We also did, and I say we because I have a team. It's not just me doing all this stuff by myself. Like, my team is mean. I got a whole team of artists that work with me. So shout out to them. But we did.
Is that like as an agency, or is this just like kind of people who you allow to freelance with you?
So I allow people to I bring people in like it's like Mission Impossible. You know, he has his squad. Nobody's signed to do anything, but we accept these missions, man, because what we do isn't easy, and the turnaround time is crazy most of the time. So we've been able to get a lot of shoes done in short amount of time, and that's what we're known for. But we did a project last year called the Mixtape. A lot of people are familiar with that one.
Bruh. So that was I think that was like one of the first times like when I actually got to understand like who Alexander John was.
Mm-hmm.
That bro, those coaches jackets were fire.
I appreciate
Those
that.
joints was cold.
Yeah, that just came by way once again Emery believing, seeing something, and then just saying, "All right, let's move on it." And that was strictly for the culture, man. This was the first time that there was a release of like a mass production on a custom shoe that was done in-house by the customizer or designer, and then distributed through all these different channels. I mean, Kith, Bodega, you name it, Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, just about every top store on Puma's accounts got those shoes. So we were
Wow.
really excited about that. And to be able to do that out of our studio was amazing.
Yeah, what was it like working with some of those big box stores? Like talk about like Saks Fifth, like no one's just walking up into Saks Fifth saying like, yo, like let me grab the shoe. And furthermore, like no one is just telling Puma like, yeah, like put, you know, I want to do a shoe. Like what's the backdrop of you actually getting to that place of being able to do such amazing work?
Right. So number one thing is prayer. Just always praying for opportunities. But then after that is relationships, man. It's about managing the expectations in your relationships and understanding, you know, who to lock in with. And, you know, there's times where you do things to show people what you can do. And then there's times that you actually do things that you will be paid on. So I think a lot of times when we listen to music and we hear different people say that they paid their dues, they're basically saying that I've done a lot of things up front, you know, just because I needed to be able to create a resume. And so for me, it's been kind of like that thing where if nobody's giving me any gigs, I'm buying shoes and I'm doing things to them myself. I'm not waiting for the opportunity. But Saks Fifth Avenue was a relationship, man, through Puma, which started out with my guy Ian, that I met at an airport on a random visit to Boston. You know? Yeah. Me and the wife were late going to the airport, and we ended up almost missing our flight, but he was in line with a bag that looked exactly like mine. And at that time, the company that bag was from was very small. So I'm like, he's got to know somebody I know. And so I tapped him, asked him about it, and come to find out we did know the same person. And he ends up saying, hey, I work with Puma. Next time you're in town, why don't you stop by the headquarters? And that's how my relationship with Puma started. It was by mistake if you're looking from the outside in, but, you know, looking from my perspective, it's just God ordering the steps. And from there, he walked me through and introduced me to different people, kind of like introduced them to what I can do. That's where the polymath concept came from. The very first project that I did with Puma was called the Polymath Experiment. And,
y'all make sure y'all go Google that right now. You know what I'm saying? After this show, so y'all can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, it launched in Philly. Emery actually supported that. He got a pair of those. Miki got a pair of those. That was actually a pretty dope project, man.
That's what's up. So I'd be remiss to not mention like two things that just like within the last 10 minutes I've heard you mention at least like 5 different times, you know, and one, like that's been your faith, and then 2, relationships. So I want to kind of start at the faith point. Like for you, like how has your faith played into how you do business and how you engage creativity?
It's a big part of it. I'm not hiding it from anyone. I'm an Adventist, so that means that we go to church on Saturdays, and so there's no work on Friday evening to Saturday evening. So that it takes faith to do that, period, because we all know retail industry is like Friday, Saturday is your shopping days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I've turned down opportunities that people would say these are big, once in a lifetime opportunities. You know, why would you turn that down? And it's based off of just what I believe in, that God will provide more opportunities. And so it's big for me, man. I don't do phone calls, you know, Saturday business, none of that. Spend time with the family, and rely on God to do what He said He'll do. You know, so
Man.
it's a lifestyle.
Yo, it's like, so like, as I guess like in this context right now, and we're going to get to the relationships portion in a second,
Mm-hmm.
but like, how has this new experience been with us, everyone pretty much being on lockdown, you know?
Right.
I mean, it seems like you've already kind of had, you know, built into just like your life, um, a type of rest and a type of, you know, disconnecting from the world. So like, now what does that look like for you? With it not just being Saturday, but for the most part, you know,
Right.
it's like a
Right.
whole week where like, you know, there's not a lot of movement going on.
Right. So for me, it's been about putting my head down, keeping in contact with my team that would normally be in the studio with me, talking to them about what they're doing in their personal studios. Because once again, I work with other artists, so they're all working, man. Everybody's in a place where we understand that what we do with our time will in this time, you know, it's about knowing what to do with your time. Like it'll show afterwards. There's going to be a time where we'll end up, you know, coming out of this. But if you come out of this having not learned to be more prepared, then I think it's a disadvantage. So for me, it's an opportunity to spend more time with family, lock in, you know, hug the wife, you know, just be with the kids and be with the family, and to reestablish and reset the things that we believe in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's not, it's, I, the very first day things went down and everybody was rushing to the stores, I refused to do that. Not because I wasn't trying to be smart about it, but
Yeah.
I had more faith that we would have another opportunity to get out there and get what we need. And it was the truth, you know. I just think that at this time, for me, it's been me helping other people see where faith is necessary to live through this time. Because if you're not living by faith, it's hard to see outside of those walls, especially if you don't like the environment that you're in, or you're used to
Yeah.
escaping that. If you're not used to working at home, right now is a tough time for you, you know. But for me, it's been normal life, for the most part, and just seeing the opportunity. I could create anything I want to do right now, you know. So that's a blessing right now.
Nah, man, that's dope, man. Yeah, I know, like, I'm kind of in the same space. You know, I mean, that's even how we got into the space of doing the study breaks. You know, the IG Live situation was,
Yeah.
man, like, there's all this time where, you know, it's just ain't nobody trying to buy no product, right? Like that. No, clothes is not a necessity. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Like these things aren't a necessity right now. So it's like, man, how can we engage people in a way that's providing value for them, that's not requiring them to swipe
Right.
their card or come up with their cash that they probably need to have for their family, or for, yeah, just
Exactly.
preparing for what the future may end up looking like. You know,
Right.
so, you know, the
Yeah.
fact that, you know, you just touched on that. I mean, I think like that's like one, like the biggest takeaways. I think everyone, you know, I hope, you know, and pray that people are taking, is that, man, we have so much opportunity right now to do everything that we said that we didn't have time to do.
Really. Even if it's just, you know, cutting the lawn, you know what I mean? Just
Bruh,
getting those cobwebs out of your garage. Like, you got
man,
time to
like,
do it.
I've been struggling with getting over to my mom's crib to cut her grass, you know what I'm saying, for a minute, because my schedule is crazy. So now it's like, all right, bet, for the
Right.
foreseeable future, every
Right.
other Thursday, I'm in there, you know what I'm saying, whacking it up.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, shout out to Frank. I know he just joined in, man. Appreciate you, homeboy. Um, but yeah, so relationships, right? Like,
Right.
you know, the value and importance of relationships. I mean, I know that there's like, we're not having this conversation without, you know, a relationship, you know,
Right.
or even the ability to communicate thought and perspective, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
we didn't know each other, you know, before last week, and then the first time we hopped on the line, we was on that joint for like 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? You know, talking.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, so like, yeah, like, from your vantage point, like how important are relationships and developing those right now?
Man, listen, when I tell you that 2019, 2018, 2016. I mean, ever since, so you're starting off with the relationship with God first, that'll direct your path to who to talk to. See, sometimes you'll just think that,
Well, talk that talk, man. Talk that
I,
talk.
I need to get to this person, I need to get to that person, but God would actually tell you who you actually need to talk to. And from
And
there,
who
man,
not to as well, because I mean it's
exactly.
wild shady out here.
Right, exactly. It's super shady. People will steal your ideas, man. I've had a lot happen to me in this industry that would normally take a lot of people out. Like, you'll just be like, okay, I'm done, because it doesn't seem like anything's going my way. But when
Yeah.
I realized it didn't have to go my way, it needs to go the way that God planned it to go, then things became a lot easier, and I started meeting and dealing with the right people. Like, that's really what it was. And then from there, man, it's been them believing in what I've been given and seeing that it's more than just a want to be famous, or more than just a want to just, put out product that everybody wants. They see that this is me. Like, every time I put out something, it's me collabing with this product, and
Yeah.
I'm into it. And from that, man, more opportunities have come. Like, the same people from Puma hit me. You know what I mean? And it's different departments, but it's a referral that happens from one to the other. The same folks, that were over at New Balance, the same people that are at Foot Locker are constantly saying, hey, let's use this guy again. Let's do something again. So
Yeah.
relationships are super important. And you're not always gonna always be able to do everything right, but it's about managing the expectation and understanding how to take responsibility for the things that you are doing, so that you can still keep that relationship, because things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you are in a corporate world, what is respected most is when you actually take responsibility for something, that you felt like could have been done better but wasn't done better. So for me, it's been that. Because doing quick turn is not easy. Like, I got hit up by Foot Locker for a first project. We had 2 weeks to do 800 pairs of shoes. There's gonna be
800.
800 pairs of shoes in
Oh,
2 weeks.
to move 800 pairs.
Yeah, we had to get them in, do the design to them, relace them, repackage them, find the distributor for the boxes, and actually pack that stuff up and do the distribution on it to like over 30 stores. This was our first
Wow.
project. So, the error margin in there is really high if you're moving that fast, but constant communication, managing relationships, and showing that the intent is to make good on whatever is what keeps the relationship there, man. We were able to do it. But when I tell you that it took every bit of my team, I had one guy that drove shoes down to the last store on the day of the launch. It's all of those things that people don't see. That's really happening behind the scenes. But it's really what you're doing is managing relationships.
Yo, so to that point, like, how are you when you're doing these projects, what I mean, like these obviously aren't general releases, right? So like these are projects that have some kind of value and meaning. And there's a type of story that you're looking to tell as well.
Right.
So how do you go about, deciding what narrative needs to be communicated through set projects? Because I mean, what you did with Puma was a little bit different than what you did with Rock Nation, right?
Right. Right.
So like how do you cut out like what's necessary for set project?
Like I said, I can't tell you enough, man. My prayer process is
It
like
keeps
that's
going back to that. It keeps going
it
back to the
has to,
source.
because the projects come like this. Like when
Yeah.
you're working, like we look at, and I can only kind of like compare it to a music artist. When we see like Lil Wayne, he's on fire, and like he's on everybody's album. That takes a crazy work ethic to be able to hear somebody all summer, because they've put in the work in the studio all year before you even seen them working. So for me, when I know my ideas aren't my own, and I'm praying about them and looking to have them curated, I'm looking for a hit every time, and I don't need to guess at it. You know what I mean? So, and I've been in that space before. Like I've been in a space where I've created something and then had to start all over and get back to the process. Like, all right, I thought I was going to do this, but it wasn't actually what I wanted to do. So for me, grounding myself in prayer first and then approaching my research to the project, then the theme comes, then I write short stories on the project, and then
Oh,
I present that to the client with the artwork.
yo, so that kind of just answered one of the questions that just came in from this kid Jacoby Seawood about just like what kind of game can you give, for someone who's self-taught. You know what I mean? So I mean that was definitely you were answering the question before that joint even came up. Jacoby, what I will say is try to we'll probably start taking questions in the next 10 minutes. Try to hone in on something specific that you're struggling with, or
Yeah.
something that, an area that you need some growth in, and then ask a question towards that. Let's try to get these questions to be as specific as possible.
Right.
But I appreciate you chiming in, and everyone else as well. In about, like I said, next 10, 15 minutes, we're going to go ahead and start taking questions. So go ahead and start thinking about the things that you either want to ask myself or that you want to ask AJ. All right. So going back to the collaborations, and you talked about you writing these short stories. Was that something were you always a story writer? Or is that something that a skill that you developed over time?
So I was published in the 8th grade. I forget what book it was, but I always had teachers that would push me to get to different levels. And my 8th grade teacher is an English teacher. He actually had my a poem that I wrote published. So
Do you remember it?
Nah, I don't. I don't. I used to love to write, man. I thought I was gonna be a rapper at one point. I'm not gonna front. I thought I was gonna rap.
What was your rap name?
I didn't even have. I don't even know if I had one. I think it was like Ace or something.
Okay.
It was generic.
He was watching Paid in Full.
Man, listen, I haven't. Listen, I didn't even watch Paid in Full until I turned it had to be 22. That was I didn't even get to see it. I don't think until I got a little bit older. Maybe I might have been 26.
Okay.
Yeah, but I saw Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, stuff like that. As influencing. But yeah,
Bro, I was in the 3rd grade watching that stuff, man. As soon as I moved to Atlanta from California, I that was my daily routine, going to Blockbuster.
Yeah. So I ended up I ended up being a writer at just a creative on that side because I loved English, and I loved how you can make different cadences and things like that. But as I got older, I was normally doing oral stories, hey, this is what this project is about. And what I realized in corporate America, they have to pass that down to someone else. So you can't just give somebody a good story over the phone and then they go regurgitate that. They're like, no, you need to actually put up a synopsis or what this project is about, like a little short story, and then, send it off. So after seeing that was the practice that I was using to deal with Foot Locker many times, it started just becoming a norm, for each project. No matter who I work with, I'm going to write and tell you what this project is about, why it needs to look this way. Otherwise, somebody can change your idea not knowing that it has purpose.
Word. Man, I know my one of my business partner, Chris, he's over marketing. I think he's on right now. What up, Chris? That's one of the things that in different ways, both myself and him are constantly coming back to is what is the narrative that we're telling? Is this clear? Is it clear to what our brand represents, and does that connect well, to the actual story that we're trying to tell? There's nothing worse than watching a a cheap movie on Netflix, you know what I'm saying, or a BET special where it's the storyline is kind of going all over the place, and you're not quite sure exactly what's trying to be communicated, and being able to efficiently communicate your thought and your perspective, both in verbal or written form, and then have that translate the product.
Yep.
If you're able to do that, man, you sitting on gold.
Yeah, and that's how it gets treated. Now, sometimes people will try to change the story. It just depends on who you're dealing with, and then you have to fight for it. So that's the next phase of it. Is you've put this energy into it, and you believe in it, and it's a one and done situation in your mind. But somebody else is I don't think this is dope, or I don't think that matters. Now you have to actually fight for it, and I've been in that position as well.